Hey everybody, my name's Dave from the Duke Marine Robotics and Remote Sensing Lab, and I am here to introduce you to you some software that you can use to be able to measure whales from drone imagery. So as you guys have been learning, we can fly drones, sometimes even simple drones like this, to be able to fly them. We can fly them over whales and take pictures and then convert those pictures into information about their length and their width. And you know, when we're doing these types of activities, we tend to create a lot of data, so a lot of images, and we require some efficient tools to be able to help us get through those data. And so I'm really happy to be able to introduce to you some software that was co-written by a PhD student in my lab, Casey Berlick, and he's going to actually take you through a walkthrough so that you can learn how to use this software and start making measurements in your own. So take it away, Casey.
Hi everyone, thank you for your interest in this software. This video covers the basics on how to use MorphoMetriX to measure whales. If you haven't yet already, check out our paper at the Journal of Open Source Software. And so let's say that you just got back from the field and you have a bunch of images that you want to measure. So MorphoMetriX essentially allows you to create custom length measurements in pixels, and it scales those measurements to real world values, such as meters. And it does this by taking the altitude that the image was collected at, dividing that by the focal length of the camera, and then multiplying that by the pixel dimensions, those actual dimensions that each pixel represents. And that's calculated from the sensor width of the camera in millimeters divided by the image width in pixels. And so MorphoMetriX allows you to enter all of those specifications in the left-hand box. And you've got your image ID at the top where you can create a custom ID. You can do an image ID or even an animal ID. You can enter in the focal length of the camera, the altitude that the image was collected at, the pixel dimensions, the number of width segments, which I'll talk about in a minute, and any notes that you might have. And this could be maybe the flight number or the drone that was used for this particular flight. Maybe there's something interesting about the whale, like it's got a scar on it or something, or maybe just the project that that this flight is associated with. And so once you have all of your metadata entered in, you are ready to import a new image. And so we do that by clicking the new image box. And now you can navigate to the folder that you have all of your images saved. So you can see we have all of our whales here. We'll choose this Antarctic minke whale. Okay, cool. So now you can see we've got our image, we've got our metadata ready to go. And at the top is our toolbars, our measurement actions, where we can import images, export measurements when we're done. But this is where we create our custom length measurements. And we can also measure area, and measure custom angles as well. And once you measure a length, you can actually create width measurements off of that length. And so that's where on the left-hand side, and then the number of width segments specifies the number of widths you would like off of that length measurement. So in this case, we have 10. And you'll see as we move forward after we make a custom measurement, there'll be 10 widths associated with that length. And so we'll go ahead and make a custom length measurement. We'll call it TL for total length. Keep it nice and simple. Now we can zoom in. We'll measure from the rostrum of the whale down to the fluke notch, so we can see and drag the line down. And this animal is relatively straight, but sometimes the animal can be a little bit curved, so it's useful to measure multiple points along the whale in that length measurement, and then apply the Bezier fit, which is the checked box at the top on the toolbar. And essentially what that does is when you create multiple points in the length measurement, it will smooth the total length line in between those points to give you a more accurate measurement. And so we'll keep that on. We'll double click at the fluke notch to complete the total length measurement. And there you go. Now we have our length measurement. Now we'll click measure widths, and you can see from the number of segments was 10, there's 10 width measurements now. And you can notice there's a highlighted line, and this is our guide on which width segment to measure. And so we're going to zoom in, and we want to click the edge of the whale. And as you notice, as we click the edge, the highlighted line moves to guide us down the body of the whale. And so we'll keep clicking on the edge of the whale to get those widths. So keep working our way down the whale. And let's say we accidentally hit a point off of that line. So like here, like we accidentally click over here, and you can see that the dot is not where it's supposed to be. Well, that's where the undo function comes in, and it automatically erases that point, and then we can redo it. And let's say, as you notice, we accidentally click just outside of that yellow line, but close to it. It will, this is one of my favorite features, it will snap the point to the closest point on that width line. And that way you're always guaranteed to measure the width on that line. So we'll keep moving down the body here and finish up the width measurements. Okay, so now once we get this final width measurement done, we can zoom back out, and you can see we've got our length and our widths done. And so now we're ready to export our measurements. So we'll go to the export measurements button at the top, and this will bring up a box to where we want to save the outputs. And you'll notice that the file name is automatically the image name, but you can create a custom name if you'd like. We'll create a custom folder here for our output. Store all of our outputs in this folder, and we'll save it in there. And then when we navigate to this folder, you'll see that we have a CSV and a PNG file. And the PNG file serves as essentially a record of where the measurements were made. So you can see that we have that total length line, all the width segments. You can see along, where on the edges we selected. And then the CSV file contains the actual measurements. And so you see we got TL for total length, our length measurements 8.3. And then we've got those width segments, those 10% width segments down the total length of the animal. And then as well, if we had also measured angle or area measurements, those also would pop up down there. And then we also have the metadata stored at the top. And so now we've got the CSV, the PNG, and we're ready to measure more whales. So thanks for watching, and have some fun.
Thanks, Casey, for an amazing walkthrough for the software MorphoMetriX. Well, I hope everyone found that software walkthrough useful. I'm pretty sure that you will, and I'm pretty excited that you can now go on and start making measurements on your own. So let's stop watching videos and get down to measuring some whales. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.